Oh man, this could take me back. Rest in peace, Moses Parrilla. And why would you put this song on? Because I could close my eyes and see me right on Lyndon and Wilson when I was 14 years old. This guy loved this man, my boy. I'm gonna tell you about our relationship, but I'm gonna tell you first. I'm emotional. Bear with me. I don't want my mascara to run. Mo loved this song. All right, ready? He did the vocal. Ready? I'm gonna see if I can do it. This is teenagers. Okay. That was the vocal. We used to do that in his house. Lyndon and Wilson days. I was like 14 years old. And then I taught him the Santa Barbara. Then we used to do it on Wilson and Manhattan. We don't want no more conflicts. Time to have sex. I'm telling you, we're gonna talk about more. We're gonna talk about fake friends. We're gonna get into it. Let me pause that music. All right, we're gonna talk about Moises Parrilla and how his life was cut short by a fake friend. Because even Jesus had a fake friend. Jesus had 12 disciples and Judas was fake. Who's phony? Who's fake? And he had a fake friend too. You know, that's why God says there's nothing new under the sun. For what was, will be. So let's get into it. Let's unpack about fake friends and why you can't help everybody. Let's talk about the betrayal and the senseless murder of Moises Parrilla, the fearless but loving soul. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about how I met Moises and how we got closer. I would say he was a brother to me. Yeah, we got into some fallout, and I'm gonna tell you the love of forgiveness, because Christ says if you don't forgive, you won't be forgiven, right? So I'm emotional. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how I met him in PS 116. Okay, I was a cheerleader. He was played baseball with him and his older brother, Papito. Okay, Moses used to tag AIM, Papito tagged AR. Okay, they were very close. Prayers for Papito, his mother, and all those that were affected of the loss of Moises, because we were all affected. He left an impact, footprints in our heart that will last a lifetime. It's 28 years. Friday, December 19th, 1997, around 5:30 p.m., I heard those shots go off from my mother's house on the 3rd floor. I'll never forget that knock. And they told me Mo got shot. That Mo was dead. I didn't understand that. I couldn't. I was 20 years old. And it was my first experience with murder. And I was like, it can't be Mo. It can't be him. Not him. The guy who taught me so much in life about guys, everything. I lost my way. But I found myself again in these 2 years of everything that he told me who I was. And I don't even want to get emotional, because then I can't get into it. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into how, again, 116, I was a cheerleader. I couldn't even remember the song. Hollywood go swinging, Hollywood go swinging, Hollywood go singing, Hollywood. So he was played baseball. And then, we didn't get close in 116. We knew each other. I knew, back then they had those short haircuts. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where the guys used to wear the short haircuts and they had like the little bit of tail in the back. I have some pictures upstairs. I had to look in my bin. I didn't find that. I didn't find my essay of college, what I meant, a cause and effect essay that I wrote about Moises. So we hit off our relationship when he started dating one of my best friends at the time. We're no longer friends. We haven't spoken in over 24 years or something. But anyway, yeah. So he used to tell me, "Oh, Sue, I don't want to take her virginity because they become hoes," right? And I didn't know what that meant because I all these guys. I mean, I remember these tag names: UD, GE. Like we were. I mean, his house was divided back in the days. Okay, so I'm talking about I was 14 years old. Okay, I'm 48 years old today. All right, not today. Today's not my birthday. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, 48. Me doing this podcast right now and this tribute to Moises. And there was parties where we used to cut in his house. I met good friend. I have a good friend named Melanie, who's out here in Orlando, Florida by me. I met her through Moises. I met the girls from Starlight City through Moises because Moises used to just have a hangout. I'm talking about, again, I told you about his little sister. His little sister was born with birth defects. So, his mother used to have to always be in the hospital. And because of that, as being a single mother, it led her to be away from him and his brother, which they were older at the time because Mo was probably like 13, I believe. Don't quote me. I'm believing probably like a year before me, 49. I could be wrong or right, but I know I was in between both of them, right? I was older than Mo and I was a little younger than Papito. So AR and AIM. He used to tag AIM, AIM. I used to buy him spray cans. Told my mother, mind you, que nervio, pobre mami, she's never worked and whatever, and then me buying them spray cans. But anyway, so when he met my best friend at the time, as I told you, he didn't want to do what he did because he said they become hoes, all right? And he didn't want to take opportunity, but he did. And that's why I told you that I remember that I could go back to that time. I could literally, and I hope I don't have book because I was literally crying. And I should have had a tissue before I did this podcast because I don't want my mascara to run. But anyhow, he did. He took her virginity. And from there, it was a whole lot, okay? And this is why and I don't mean to say about myself, I was the only virgin. I was with, and he's not here today, but his brother's still alive. I got Papito on my page. He could vouch for me. I mean, I was surrounded by a bunch of guys. Moses, his brother, and all his friends. I mean, this was a hangout that I loved so much that I used to sneak out just to hang out with him, okay? He used to be like, "Oh, Sue, come to the house, this, that, and the third." I'd be like, "All right, cool." His house was railroad. He lived on Linden and Wilson, and I lived on Menahem Wilson. So we have Grove and we were like 2.5 blocks from each other, okay? So I used to, literally, my mother had the middle room. I used to crawl, okay, past my mother's room at like 12 o'clock midnight just to hang out. And we used to have to be back like 5:30 in the morning. And this was a constant thing till we got caught. I don't even know how many months we got away with it, okay? Praise God that my mother didn't kill me. Just to hang out with him in the morning. It was the night. It was the breaking night. It was all these things with Moises. And I'm going to tell you one thing about him. One thing I always knew about Moises was that he was very loving. You had to understand him. Loving, caring, but fearless too. When he was the type of dude, he's not going to tell you what you want to hear. He's going to say what he feels. Kind of like what I do, and it rubs people the wrong way. And that's okay. You're not meant for everyone to love you. And so, unfortunately, when we did all that, I'm going to tell you right now about, the breaking night. And I don't mean to say that, but he was so comfortable with me that at that time they used to roll blunts, they used to smoke weed. I never wanted to get high. He told me about I thought she was a sister at the time, and he used to be like, "Oh, I don't want you to, why you talk to her? She's fake. She's phony." He was like, "I want you to beat her up." Like, this is what he used to tell me. And then from that transpired to like him slap boxing with me. Like, this guy used to literally get up. No, seriously, get up and like tell me to guard my face. If not, he was like, if I didn't guard and learn how to, like, you know, like, that's what would happen to me. But he wouldn't do it like full force, like slap the heck out of me, right? But I would get caught. So he like, yo, Sue, guard your grill. Like, what's up? Like, he used to go like, and I used to be like, yo, what you doing? He's like, I want you to be tough. You know? And I guess that's where a lot of my masculine energy stem from being with him slap boxing. And he wasn't like punching me. Like, if I didn't guard up, Moses would catch me in my face. And so I had to learn how to maneuver because of him. Because he wanted me to learn how to fight. Okay. So it was a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, I've seen girls come through that crib like you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, girls were just doing the thing. When I tell you that fornication was happening at this age. You know, we were very young. I was like, no, I don't want to do this, right? And so, which I just was looking. Moses, let me tell you something. He was there for me at the most traumatic point in my life because they took my brother away from me. Well, not from me because I wasn't a parent, right? From my mom. My brother was diagnosed as a schizophrenia, okay? And because of that, you know, the mental war. He went into a mental war. That's when I became a rebel. That's when I was sneaking out. That's when I was like, you know what? I don't care because my brother was my everything growing up. He was my father, my mentor. He taught me a lot. And when they took him from me, he became my brother. You know, he became very respectful. I'm telling you, I never made out with him. Look how fine that he was always fine since we were young. But once I friend zone you and you are in that, I respect him. He respected me. He was like a brother to me. I'm talking about we broke night together. As I started getting older, we just was like doing the thing. I've seen this guy like one day, and I don't even want to say this because I had loyalty to my best friend. And one day he had a girl there, and I was like, she gotta leave. And I went through the front, and he let her come through the back. And because he used to teach me how to fight, I went to go beat the girl up because I felt you can't violate my best friend. Like, you were my homegirl. Like, how you going and seeing this girl? And I chased this girl down Linden, and she went and running inside Zest's crib. And Zest used to live on Linden between Wilson and Central. Okay? This is how crazy our relationship was. That you're like, Sue, what you doing? Like, and let me tell you something. All that, I tell you that I appreciated him so much. And you could be like, oh, you know, you never touched Mo, never kissed him one day. I'm telling you, I almost died in his crib. And he saved me. And how did you almost die? Well, I was I wasn't no more than 16. I'm telling you, I was like 15 years old. And I got really drunk in his house. I was drinking with that house. I used to not smoke weed because I didn't want to smoke weed at that time. But we were drinking, and I got so drunk, okay, that I jumped in his shower and I wet my hair. Like, it was below zero. I'm talking about, this was the winter time. It was below zero. And I went to go outside. Like, I was so drunk, and I'm talking about, it was freezing outside. And he was like, Sue, yo, he grabbed me, and he was with my best friend, and they were on the bed, and she was going to let me go. And he was like, you freaking crazy? Yo, he grabbed me and he was like, Sue, you are not leaving. He tussled with me, whatever. And let me tell you something. No disrespect, his shorty was right there. He went and he put me clothes on. Like, literally put like a sweater. Like, his clothes was bigger than me because I was like probably like 89 pounds back then. Okay. And he made sure, he said she could die. I was so intoxicated, I didn't even know that I washed my hair and my whole clothes. I threw myself in the shower to wake myself up, okay? And he stopped me from going outside, okay? And changed my clothes and all that stuff. You know, of course he left my bra on, wasn't being disrespectful. But, you know, this is the friend that I had, the brother in him, okay? And let me tell you, when all that, I remember he introduced me to so many. He introduced me to Snow. That's how I know Snow, through Moses. I met Snow in his house. I met so many people because this hangout was like, I used to feed him. You know, he used to come. I remember him and his brother used to come through the fire escape because I was like, you can't knock on the door. So I had a roof, right? They used to come up the ladder of my roof and come walk up the roof and go in the fire escape for I could give them empanadas. I used to make the little empanadas with ground meat and cheese and feed him and his brother. Yo, they love me. I used to do little food shopping for them. Okay? Let me tell you that I love them because I've seen, you know, not that their mother abandoned them. She was a good mom, right? When you have I couldn't imagine what that felt like for her. You know, they were bigger. They could fend for themselves. Obviously, they were having sex, you know, it is what it is. You know, they knew what they were doing, right? And so I just wanted to just, you know, help them in any way because I had my mom there always 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? And so I just poured that love into them, okay? So I'm going to tell you where we talk about the fake friends. We'll talk about, to his death, we're going to talk about how the fallout happened with me and him. So, again, I told you these girls were fighting for this dude. You hear me? Like, before he met the mother of his daughter, which was the love of his life, and I could testify that all those other girls didn't, till he met her. That's when he changed. And I'm going to talk about, like, how he told me, he professed that to me, okay? So, we're talking about that. We're talking about one day we were supposed to, I don't know, his brother was like, oh, let's go see. He was talking to another girl, right? And I don't know what happened with him and my best friend or whatever. So he was like, let's watch these two. I was like, I'm not going to watch them, whatever. But he put me on the tee, right? So, yes, he was my best friend. But she was my best friend. She lived in the same building as me, right? So I was like, oh, this guy's doing something with somebody else. Like, why? You know, I'm thinking his loyalty should be to her. You know, my best friend, whatever. So I go back the next day and I go tell her. What was that for? Oh, let's get ready to rumble. Like, you know, let's get ready to rumble because that's what exactly happened for me opening my mouth and being loyal to my best friend who years later turned out not to be loyal to me. Okay, and we're not gonna. That's not a podcast on this, but it's about how the rumble started with me and him, and what transpired. Okay, so I come and tell my best friend, "Hey, this one has a new girl." Right? I tell her, you know, like I'm looking out for her. She's my best friend. Like, you know, he's with somebody else. Whatever. Forget about it. That went to that. So when the girl, I don't know how long was apart, the girl, heard about her, they heard about each other, obviously, through my mouth, right? And she's coming down Bleecker with her sister-in-law. And she tells my best friend, I was on Menahem. I was on Wilson between Menahem and Bleecker. And I had my best friend in the front of me, whatever. We was in the garage where Miguel, I don't know if you guys are from Bushwick, but Miguel's garage was there, and I was sitting on the garbage can, okay? So she tells my best friend at the time, oh, I'm going to come back. You dealing with Moises, I'm going to come whip your ass, right? So I told her, okay. I mean, hey, y'all can get it in. That's what's up. But nobody's going to jump her, okay? So these two are fighting for this guy, okay? Mind you, I'm like, okay, these two are about to get it in. I told her, hey, stay right here because if anybody gets in, I got your back, right? She comes around the corner. Oh, the girl was about the business. She comes around the corner. She punches my best friend. They start, let's get ready to rumble. They start fighting for this guy. They fighting. Then her sister-in-law jumps my best friend. So I punch her, right? And that's how we start rocking right there. So then I'm fighting her sister-in-law. And I get punched in the back by one of my good friends because that's his sister. And then after after he punches me or whatever, was hitting me a few times. I don't know, because I'm fighting his sister. So I don't know what's happening. I'm just focused on my fair one, right? The fade. I'm catching a fade with this girl. Whatever. So then his her brother hit me. So then my boy, his name is Angel, okay? He slaps the dude that is jumping me, right? So then it was all a domino effect, right? So they went from this one to that one, me fighting this, and then the brother jumping me, and my boy slapping the brother and got him off me, because it was a girl fight. It shouldn't. No, it was fair one. It was one-on-one, girl on girl. This guy's two shorties, and then the sister-in-law and me fighting. Whatever. So from there, it went left. When I told you he was so angry at me, had every right to be. Understandably, respectfully, he had every right to be. Again, we were both young, so I didn't know I knew what loyalty was, but I felt like my loyalty was more to her, because I grew up with her, even though I went to, baseball with him, and I was good best friends with him. We broke night together. I loved him tremendously. But I was just looking out like, hey, he's moving on. You know what I mean? And that didn't work good for me. Okay. It didn't end well. So now I'm going to tell you how the fallout came. So then, I think maybe a week or I don't know. You know what? I don't even know how long ago was it, but I went to go hang out with his brother. Right? We went to go hang out. Me and Papito was cool too. I was closer to him. Me and him were tight like this. Like he told me so many things, like, the hurt he went through, like when his sister was going through, like, because she had a problem with Tito, with her heart and stuff like that. Like, he would tell me the things, that he was feeling, those things, And so he wasn't there. I went looking for him, because back then there wasn't cell phones, right? So I couldn't call him. And even though he heard about the fight, I'm sure he heard about the fight and the rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. So I go there not knowing. And then he comes out the room and he slaps fire out me. Okay? Yo, when I tell you, he slapped me like there was no more slap boxing. It was like, how dare, bah, on my face. Okay? So what I did was I slapped him back. I punched him. We started fighting. And I know it was a fight because if you know, in Bushwick, the railroad apartments are like, from, the living room. He had the professional iron in his kitchen, okay? And I hit the iron. So I was me and him was fist fighting, okay? And thank God, shout out to Papito AR. Thank you so much, Papito, for stopping that fight, because it was ugly. It was ugly between me and him. Oh yeah, he hit me and I hit him back. I was getting it rocking. He was hitting me, and it was an ugly fight between him and I. It was ugly. And if it wasn't for Papito holding me down, because he defended me, he was like, yo, what you doing? Whoa, you crazy? Like, he literally checked him, his big brother. Like, you are out of pocket. You are out of line. And he literally was like, yo, Sue, just go, open the door for me. And then when I went down, he was like, oh, because I was talking to this was the only guy I ever talked to. This was the first guy I ever made out with. That's why I'm saying I know I was almost close to 16 years old. At this time, because I told you I met him when I was 13, whatever. I went down the stairs. My face was like my shirt. I mean, he was fighting. What do you want me to say? You think he was taking it easy on me? Like, we were really thumping it out. Okay? And I go downstairs, and the only guy that I ever made out with, I'm not going to mention his name. He was like, what happened? I was like, oh, he told me to get you. I'm crying hysterical because I didn't care about the hurt. Like, that was the first guy I ever fought in my life. And after that, I wanted to find 7 more guys, six or 7 guys, right after Moises. But, like, transpiring through the years, not right back to back. But anyway, I wasn't crying because of the pain. I was devastated in my heart. I was so crushed that I was in those girls that were having sex. I was the only virgin in that whole crew, and not to give myself up, because you could even ask his brother's alive today. Okay? And I was like, how dare he do that to me? And he was like, oh, why he did this. And then From there, it got crazy. Again, so the rumble for the girls wound up going to the guy that I was talking to, and the first kiss that I ever had, virgin, I wasn't having sex. God knows I wasn't. Him and him wound up getting into a shootout, and some big shit transpired through that shit. That he left Linden and went to Puerto Rico, and all this other stuff, which it wasn't intentional, right? I'm not doing that to deflect because I'm accountable. But I'm telling you that when I went down, when his brother told me to leave, and I was brokenhearted. I mean, my face was all red. You could tell I was in a fight. I went downstairs. Because remember, in Linden, where they lived, there was a pizzeria there. So I guess the guy that I was, for my first kiss, the first guy I ever met out with, was going to get pizza. And so he ran into me, and I wound up, when you upset and you crying, you just venting, but you're not venting where I went down the block to go get him, go fight Moises. That wasn't ever my intention with Mo, right? So whatever that happened, that transpired within that. And, we wound up, he wound up leaving. Our friendship was done. So I thought our friendship was severed. There was no repairing that, okay? I was so hurt that I loved him like a brother. And I thought he was like my brother, but he wound up being, I'm going to tell you how things happened. We were both young. We were no older than 16 years old, okay? And we're talking about adolescence. We're talking about adolescence here. And I didn't mean to get emotional, but I remember that day when we fought. I still remember that fight that me and him had, and how I went unintentionally and told the guy when he was calling to get pizza, the guy that I was, my first kiss. Okay. So then, which he was not part of his crew. Thank God that his brother wound up knowing them, and they wound up squashing it, because the guy that I was seeing, his brother was cool with Moises, and they squashed that beef, which was great, right? So then, he moves away. I don't see him anymore. I don't, he's not living on Linden anymore, and that was it. I used to think about him, how, I loved him, and, whatever was the situation. At this time, I became a little older, right? I started hanging out on the clubbing scene, and I was hanging out on D Harbor Knickerbocker. Guess who finds me on D Harbor Knickerbocker? This guy right here. So, I was outside. This was before I became a mother. I was really hanging in the streets, and I know he used to have like this little Honda Accord, and he had, he loved that. He had his own car, whatever. And I saw him, and I'm gonna be honest, I told my good friend at the time, I was like, I may get shot. I may die right now, and I wasn't gonna run. Okay, I wasn't gonna run. It is what it is. I'm gonna face my stuff, like in the music, because I know he's mad. And he says, just like this, because I could hear his voice, yo, Sue. No, yo, Sue. Like that, real stern, real deep, real tough guy, okay? And I was like, oh shit, I told you he was gonna, I was like, just keep walking, don't worry about me. I didn't have kids at the time, so if whatever would have happened to me, it would have happened, and that's what's gonna be the end of that. So he's like, yo, Sue, I need to talk to you. So I was on D Harbor Knickerbocker when he stepped to me. And he was like, yo, we need to talk, da-da-da. He was like, yo, I'm sorry what I did to you, Susan. I loved you like a sister. He's like, I apologize for everything that I've hurt you. I'm so sorry, Sue. Like, out of everybody, I shouldn't have did that. He's like, yo, that's, that beef got big, but, it wasn't your fault. Because, again, I walked down to leave to my house to Wilson, and that, I seen the person I was talking to. We squashed it. Oh, we squashed it. We talked about it. We were adults. Even at that age, this was before around the time right before I became a mother, before I became pregnant. Okay, that's right before that. We were going to Essos together. We was hitting the clubbing scenes. I was hanging out with him in his Honda Accord. We was up and down. We was just like outside. You know what I mean? And I was just like, all right, cool. Like, you know, I don't know. I think it was like 2 years that I didn't see him. He did tell me that his brother was still mad at me, and I understood it. You understand? You know, that Papito wasn't as forgiving as he was with me. But remember, again, me and him were like close. We were tight. That was my brother. Like, I love Mo to this day. I love him with everything, with every being that I am, you know. And so we was outside. You know, I had he was seeing one of my good friends. I had hooked him up with one of my good friends, and he was just seeing her at the time. And you know, all this, we were just really like having a great time. Okay, so that he was coming with me on Willoughby. That's where she was at, you know, whatever. This was before he met his daughter's mother, because then when he met her, it was like he hung up the gloves. Okay, so what else I need to tell you? So we need to talk. We talked about that. We're gonna talk about how God was giving me dreams and how I gave him warning. We're gonna talk about you know, how he came. I'm going to tell you right now. That's why I tell you that he loved me. After that, we were like this. Like, we was on the scene. We was outside. Like, really hanging hard body. You know, I hooked him up. Remember, I don't look at him like that. I always looked at him like a brother. And so that's why I hooked him up with, you know, and this girl wasn't my best friend at the time. So she betrayed me, and she wasn't real to me. And so it was done with that. And so I want to take out how when I got pregnant. Okay. When I lost my virginity, he was really angry about the guy I chose to lose it to. Like, he thought he was absolutely ugly. He was like, why, Sue? Like, why? Thank God my daughter's beautiful, but again, Ariana's gorgeous. But he was just like, out of all the dudes that I tried to hook you up with, you give this dude. And so one of my girlfriends she betrayed me, and I was letting her rent a room in because his father's from, well, my daughter, I don't even have a sperm donor. You know, my ex-husband is their father. Anyway, so he was upset, and so he went over there that he left me pregnant. He was highly upset. He was like, you don't deserve that. That he's gonna think that he's gonna do what? I mean, he was like, I'm telling you, listen, I got my hammer right here, because homeboy was like, I'm not gonna shoot him. Like, just like this. We was just like that, hanging. He went under 1.8. He was strapped. I didn't even know he was strapped. He was like, we're gonna go to his crib. I'm gonna have a conversation. I promise you I won't hurt him. I promise you that the most I would do is pistol weapon. I was like, okay. I took him to the house, and he was living at my girlfriend. He told her, he had my back all the way. He was even tight with her. He was like, get the flying Florida out of my face, you stupid. Like, because he felt like she was the corporate and hurting me like that. He saw me pregnant, like, and let, you know, the man that I gave my virginity to, like, treat me like that. Or he was not happy because he knew who I was. You know, he just didn't appreciate that. So he never came down. You know, the dude never came down. You know, sperm donor never came down. He came out the window, and Mo was like, yo, come down. Let me holler at you. Let me talk to you for a minute, son. You know, because that's how Mo used to talk. Yo, let me talk to you for a minute, son. And he was like, nah, I'm not coming down. What you coming over here for? He was like, I just want to talk. Let's talk. And he was not trying to talk. Okay? So anyway, we laughed, whatever. After all that was said and done, you know, he tells me that he's having a baby. You know, he spoke very, very highly of his daughter's mother, his only daughter, who's absolutely gorgeous. I don't even say that to say that because I loved him. She is gorgeous, like beautiful, like, yo, beautiful. Anyway, so his only daughter, you know, he told me, you know, like he loved her, that he wanted me to meet her, that he wanted for me to go to the baby shower, whatever. Because like I said, there was distance, time and distance. Because again, the cell phones, it wasn't really a thing, and too much of that, So then, we lost contact, and let's talk about get up into the, his murder, okay. And first of all, let's talk about the dreams that led up to his murder. Let's talk about how I didn't even know I had a gift of dreams. If I knew, I would have warned him. I would have told him. So God gave me a few dreams. I don't know how many of them, but I'm telling you, it was more than one. May have been 2 or 3 dreams. I was running with Moises, okay, before he died. Before he was murdered. He didn't die. He was murdered, okay? That happened to him, I was having dreams of me and him in Linden Park, which is where his life ended at. We were running, but he was like, "Sue, run!" And I was running with all the speed. And he too. I'm talking about. I remember the dream that our cheeks were shaking. That's how fast me and him was running, right? So I'm running, and he's like, every time we stopped, I'm talking about. He was like this. He would go in the game room and look like that. Like we were looking out the game room. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know who we were looking for. In the game room. And that's where his life ended at. In the game room. So God was giving me warnings of him, us running through Linden Park, running fast speed, that I was with him. But I didn't know back then that, that even Christ was even real, or if there even was a God, right? Because I would have gave him the warning. So, he had a fake friend by the name, and I'm going to call his name out. I don't care, because CeeLo. Me and CeeLo were never friends. I don't even care about him. I forgave him, whatever is the situation. It took me a long time to forgive him. It was a long process, and I'm sure that it's not easy for people, but it's been 28 years, and it doesn't change the fact when you love somebody, it's hard. It's a hard thing, a road for forgiveness. And Moises allowed this guy to go on his baby shower. I heard Moises allowed him to live with him or stay with him a few times. A phony, okay? And to take us out. And I heard about how it happened. I think it was something with one of Mo's friends that they went to go get him in the block. And when they went to go get Moises came down the block and just punched him, right? And the guy should have just punched him back, right? That's what we do. You know what I mean? My mother taught me very young in life, like, que te den a ti, da pa atrás. And that's where, like, I even got a problem. I don't have a problem with Christ. I do not have a problem with your word. But Jesus says if they slap you, turn the other cheek. I'm not turning the other cheek, Jesus. We're going to get it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it like that. But I'm just telling you that when Mo went up the block, and punched the dude off the crate, because I have my boys. Like, they told me, what happened, what transpired. And instead of the guy, which was a coward to me, because you know what? This gun right here, I don't play with it at all. It's always in my safe next to my bed. I would never want to shoot nobody unless my life is threatened. And Mo went up there with the hands, with the hands. And this dude that went to his baby shower, that he left a place to stay, shot him. Like if he was not a human life, okay? His baby moms was going to be giving birth. I believe she gave birth the following week or 10 days after Mo was murdered. I mean, this is why Jesus says there's nothing new under the sun, for what was, will be. What was back then, will be today. And so it's just something that I will always hold him dear to my heart. And I'm going to tell you how before he was murdered, not only the dreams I was having, I had a premonition. So he was supposed to come see my daughter. My daughter was already born, right? Before his murder. My daughter was already born. He called me. I was walking on Wilson, and he was yelling my name because him and Zest were like this. I don't know if you guys know Zest, but Zest, love you, Zest. You know, always, him and Zest was really tight. And before he was like, yo, Sue, I heard you had a baby. He was just so happy for me. I was like, yeah, I had a daughter. Look, he was having a daughter too, right? So our daughters are probably like 4 months apart. That's it. My firstborn, his daughter got to be going on 28 right now too. So, you know, he was like, Sue, and it was me, Mo, Jahira, and Zest, okay? This was like maybe 2 weeks up before his death. So this must have been December of 1997 because it was just like 2 weeks before he died. He was like, yo, he called me, yo, Sue, yo. Like, I was like, oh shit, that's Mo. I know his voice. I was like, that's Mo. So me and Jahira turned back and we walked towards him and Zest, right? So we was on Linden and Wilson, right? Where the store was at, where he used to live at and stuff. And he was like, yo, Sue, how you been? How's the baby? When we just started talking about my daughter, I was high. I remember I had smoked a 20 from Halsey, like a blunt, like I rolled it straight to the face from Halsey. He was like, Sue. And so we were just talking and talking. He was telling me about an incident that happened in Puerto Rico, because he went to live in Puerto Rico temporarily. And he was talking about, you know, like shots. Like he was like, bang, 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 bang. I can tell you that's how exactly he used to do it. Bang, bang, bang. Like, and I'm like, so when he did that, I seen him lay down when those shots, when he did those noises. But I thought I was high. I mean, I didn't think I was high. I was freaking high. I was like, you know, a 20 for me and Jai, we were both high, okay? And when he did that, I saw him laying down, but I didn't think nothing of it. I thought I was having like some psychosis or something, like, you know, because we can do that to you, right? And then he was like, Sue, I need to tell you something. And I didn't know that he was telling me goodbye. Jahai was a witness. Zest is a witness too. He's like, I love you, Sue. Yo, like, I love you. I never met a girl like you. Like, you're one of a kind, for real, for real. Like, you always been, like, one of the guys, like, just on some chill stuff, like, very respectful. Like, you always respected yourself. And he went and he picked me up from my knees. He picked me up from my knees and gave me that kiss on my cheek. That kiss was, and that hug, it was so strong. You know what I mean? It was just, he's like, yo, I just need you to know, like, right, Zest? And he kept telling Zest to confirm it. He was like, yeah, so this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? And 2 weeks later, the shots rang out. His life was cut short by a senseless act of a coward. A fake friend. Just like Jesus. You know, Jesus wasn't murdered though, right? He was betrayed. Jesus gave up his life. Okay, there's a difference. But it's the betrayal. Could you imagine you get into an altercation and the person you brought to your baby shower murders you after you gave him a place to live, after you gave him a home when they were homeless? And that's Moses' Parrilla story. You know, and I must be all bugged out. If I forgot anything, Lord, give it to me now. So that's why we must be careful of who we engage with, guys. We definitely do, we have to be very careful. And the dreams, the last goodbye. He was telling me goodbye. He just had to tell me how much I meant to him. And I would never forget that. I would never forget him. He left footprints in my heart forever. And yeah, this is not, I moved on with life. I lost my identity. He wanted me with my ex-husband. He didn't know he was like that, right? Oh my God, I even remember when he moved to Trotman, those Trotman days, when Mo was, when he was a Trotman in Central, to when he moved there. Oh, I even forgot. One day he even smacked my boy. I'm talking about because he did something to him, and I was walking. I ain't even gonna name him because Endito. But the guy was bigger than him. Okay, the guy was bigger than him. And Mo was like, didn't I tell you that when you see me, da-da-da? And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though, sometimes you resort in violence, but it's the fair one. Like, his death has impacted us all. His only daughter was left without a father. Her dad, who would have, I'm telling you, he would have been so overprotective with her. I remember, I'm gonna close with this. So I was walking with my other boy. Like, I didn't even know they had drama. You know what I mean? And my boy Mo saw me when he was like, what up, Sue? Gave me love. And then he slapped fire. He didn't even punch him. He slapped him. Bah! I'm like, Mo, why you doing that? Because me, I get real defensive and crazy. And I'm like, yo, why? He was like, he know what's up. He know why I'm doing that. And he walked away. But the dude, I give him that much, that he didn't resort to this. Like, always resort to this. Like, he definitely was able to use his hands, because you live to see another day. You win some, you lose some. He lost his life for a senseless act of violence, And I'm just remembering him today. His legacy, the love that I still have for him to this day. And how even now in my singleness, I've learned to find myself the person that he loved. That love that I lost. And he wanted with my ex-husband. He didn't know. He wouldn't know, but he was like, oh, y'all make a good match. Like, Sue, he's good looking. Like, and you're pretty. Like, he used to tell me like that straight up. Like, I was like, oh, thank you. Right? He's like, I would want you with him. And that's why I gave my ex-husband an opportunity. And he does all the stuff he did, which, matter of fact, today makes 2 years on my brother from another mother anniversary. I left my ex-husband 2 years ago today. I said no to disrespect, to cheating, to lying, to manipulation, and to every form of abuse there is. Because God didn't create me for that. I'm blessed and highly favored. So, that was a lot on a lot. I may have mascara running down my face. If I do, I apologize. Again, he used to tag, aim. I remember I used to buy him spray paint. He was very close with Zest. I remember his cousin Maz as well. I don't know if he used to tag it, but they used to call him Maz. And all these guys I met because of him. It was just like the illest hangout in his house. And those were memories that I will hold in my heart forever. I just ask you to keep, it doesn't matter how long someone leaves, just always, not always, but always pray. Always pray for your surroundings. Always discern of people in your circle, because it's the inner people that you got to worry about. It's not the outside people. It's the ones that know you and slither, snakes. And so that's just what I wanted to share. In loving memory of Moises Parrilla. 28 years ago today, his life was taken from us. I remember, that God answers prayers. That when he was murdered, Melanie, I'm never going to forget that about you. You came all the way down from East New York. And you took me from a dark place. I remember being in the dark and I couldn't even hug my little daughter, who was 4 months in a day. And I prayed all day that day, and I told the Lord, if you're real, I want to see him by myself. I want to pay respects to him by myself. I just didn't want to see people in the funeral. I was so broken, okay? Do you know that God answered my prayers? He answered me. Melanie came down from Starlight City. She took me out of my house. We went to put flowers of where he lost his life on Linden and Central in front of the game room. And I seen people coming out the funeral. And I didn't even know he had a funeral in San Juan, where I had my dad recently on Menahem. And they was like, you didn't see Mo? My whole body started shaking. And they wouldn't let me in. I was begging that funeral home. They was like, oh, the service is over. You can't see him. And I was begging, let me in. Let me in. And he let me in. I got to pay my respects to him. He was one of the first guys that I seen tan lindo, even in a casket. I remember he had a cigarette in his ear. He had a do-rag and a hat. He had a fitted hat. I believe he had, back then, it was an Averex jacket, because he had him with a nice jacket like that. And I cried. I was crying so much that my tears was hitting his eye duct, and it felt like we were crying together. So I'm going to end with this. No, I went to the close a few times. I never went 51 minutes on a podcast, but I didn't want to leave nothing out. Literally, guys, take heed to fake friends and the people in your circle. Watch some people that are close to you and make sure they do what they're supposed to do. It's like fake is just like so common in our world today. There's so many snakes and not enough real people. People are living facades. They got masks on. That person was with a mask, and it's the same way with Christ. Like, it's just, I dealt with that too. My cousin was a facade, a fraud too, in my face. Like, I held him down when he had nothing. And he goes and does what he does. And so I'm just using that piggybacking with Moises about, I'm not going to get into that because this is a dedication to him and his memories. But I experienced that. And though I wasn't murdered, I felt like he killed me. And that's where my triggers come from when people deal with me, like try to play with me. A lot of it, like, I've experienced a lot of death, betrayals, and I just tell you that Jesus is the only hope. I said that in my father's funeral. Confess it with your mouth, believe it in your heart that Jesus Christ rose from the dead and you shall be saved. Let God do the work. Let the rest, God will do the work. You know what I mean? It's like a fisherman when they put it's like God throws the rod, right? And when you come in, you're dirty with all that sin. But God will clean you daily, daily. And so that is the story of Moises. And there's still probably so much more to unpack with him. But that's what I have for you guys. And I hope I welcome you. I thank you so much for taking your time out and listening to my pain and listening to just a story of someone's life that ended at, I was 20 years old when he died. 20 years old. He was 19. He didn't even get to live his life. He didn't even get to touch his daughter. And I remember he told me his daughter's name, you know that? In a dream. He's like, you know how it feels not to touch Mo? And I was like, when I found out that was his daughter, I tried. I remember I tried to, like, at this time I had a lawsuit, on the road to riches and diamond rings, do real things, right? I wanted to give that's what tell you. As if he still remembers when I went in and showed up with like $1,500. I didn't have much. I had a little lawsuit like with $5,000 from a little car accident. I mean, I wanted to give it to his daughter's mother. Yeah. Yeah, she had a baby, and I wanted to meet her. I wanted to meet her since she was born. But Zest was like, she's not that type of girl. She's not going to let you be involved in her life. And it's sad because me and him had nothing but pure love and friendship and respect. And yeah, there was, a fallout between us, but we rekindled. And it was great after that. It was never done again. Things can be, how do I say, forgiveness is beautiful, especially when you love somebody. The way I loved him, and there was so much respect and love between one another. And but I wasn't allowed to, give this money because of the fact, I guess I was the opposite gender or whatever it was, but that's okay. So I just want to give my love, my prayers, condolences to the family. Thank you to his mom and his father for being pro-life. And though it was only 19 years or 20 years, because I was 20 years old, that I believe he was 19 because I'm older than Mo, that we shared with him. I thank you so much for being pro-life, because he really did have an amazing impact on me. He taught me how to fight and be a tough girl. It stemmed from him. It was with my brother, and then he was number 2 right after Michael. So my brother's name is Michael. He's still alive and well today. But Moises started that toughness with Sue. So I love you guys. And if I forgot anything, I'm sorry. There was a lot to unpack, and I did take 56 minutes of your time. God bless you guys. Have an amazing Friday. I hope you have an amazing week. And thank you so much for taking me on, being on the journey with Mo. Rest in peace to Mo. We love him, and we will never forget him. God bless you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.